Welcome to My Favorite CX, a podcast that celebrates exceptional customer experiences. To listen to today's, please choose from one of the following options.
Welcome to My Favorite Customer Experience. I'm Chris Holt from Holt CX Consultancy here in the UK, and I'm joined today by Alex Mead. Alex, welcome.
Hi there. Good to finally talk to you.
So for those unfamiliar with Alex, Alex is a customer service experience leader and looks at things slightly differently, I think, to a number of people within the field, and is well worth a follow on LinkedIn for just getting a slightly different take on the world of CX and customer service experience. Alex, why don't you tell us what the difference is with your approach and introduce yourself a little?
Yeah, hi. So in the 90s, I worked as a contact center agent. I had a headset on. I had people phoning me and shouting at me because a utility company, either they didn't like their bill or their water quality or the water pressure. Nobody phones a water company to say, hey, I'm really happy with my service. And I found I had a knack of talking to the angry ones. I got an angry one, give it to Alex, he's good at that. And then I worked my way up to be the manager through all the levels and took them from the worst utility to the best when it comes to customer service. So I think I'm quite good at this. And then throughout the 2000s, I worked for big financial services companies. And then probably early 2010 onwards, the second decade, I worked for a company that delivered over 500,000 parcels a day as part of a much bigger global group. And we were in such a terrible mess, but so was the entire sector. These were the days when if you knew what day your parcel was coming, you were lucky. And I know you asked me a brief question. I won't go into too much detail now, but it's the way my brain thinks. I thought, this is crazy. We have hundreds of thousands of phone calls every day, emails 6 weeks old. If you're sending an email, you want to know about your parcel today or tomorrow, so 6 weeks means it's broken. And I remember sitting in a room and saying, surely there's one or two main reasons people contact us. We had no CRM, so I couldn't prove it, but I just knew it. What time is my parcel coming? Or your tracking information is wrong. And I said, okay, why can't we get ahead of the game and use the information? We have an idea roughly when the driver is going to get to each address, and route optimization was coming. Why don't we proactively tell customers and companies we're collecting parcels from when we'll be there? Between 1 and 3 p.m. And better still, give them a link to track the driver. And again, there's so much more to this. But lo and behold, we became the first logistics company in EMEA to send you the text to know what time. And that came from me just trying to fix terrible customer service. So that's why I say customer service experience, because the experience is proactive, not support. And then I spent some time with International Airlines Group, the owners of British Airways, Iberia, Vueling, Aer Lingus, doing a lot with, that was really contact center stuff, but did a lot of innovation, which they didn't listen to me enough, and they've acknowledged that now. So if they listened to me then, they'd be streets ahead of where they are now. And then Macallan Whiskey, absolute wonderful role where Macallan is the most luxurious whiskey in the world. And I was hired to give them the most incredible luxury customer service experience. So again, this was budget is no issue. We're a cash-rich, privately owned company. And the stuff we imagined and did there was off the charts. Then I moved to Bahrain, COVID hit, set up the first ever digital-only bank in Saudi Arabia. I was employee number one for customer experience, had to do the contact center, the app, everything, the technology. And then I set up the first privately owned BPO here in Bahrain, a 1-year fixed contract. They're now serving many clients. And more latterly, I've been working with Explorer Journeys, who are a luxury cruise brand. But in each of these roles, so I'll come to the point because I'm not here to ask about my career history, but in each of these roles, I've had a framework all the way back to that logistics company where customers should have epic CX, easy, personalized, intuitive, and contextual. So that's it. And then employees need time, information, motivation, and empowerment. So there's two lots of 4 letters. Every role I go to, every challenge, nobody's ever close to delivering what great looks like for both of those sets of things. So that's my go-to approach. And, you know, I've been involved in every technology platform there is in CRM, CCaaS, WFM, QA, all that. And more latterly, there's the Gen AI. And I've been doing some pretty cool stuff, actual practical stuff, not the theoretical nonsense in my last couple of roles. So that's me. But I'm also a Southampton fan, and it's misery again. Not only are we relegated, we're selling our best players. Oh, terrible.
And for context, we're recording this before the end of the transfer window. So by the time this comes
There's
out,
one more going today, I'm told. Oh Lord.
yeah. So hopefully by the time this goes out, maybe spirits have improved slightly.
Let's hope. Let's hope.
What I find fascinating there is everything comes down to the why. The why are customers, and why can't agents? And everything's. We're very good at focusing just on the metrics of, the metrics are bad, the metrics aren't right. And it's like, well, if you don't fix the why,
yeah, exactly,
you're never going to fix the metrics.
Correct. Yeah. And actually on that logistics, we did a lot of incredible stuff with technology, but the cultural change was the biggest change. So at the end of the day, we had 3,000 drivers out, and what time is your parcel coming was about 40% of questions each day. Another 25 to 30% were, your tracking information is wrong. And I was brave enough, and I had to really fight tooth and nail with the CMO, my peer. I want to put contact categories on the website or the app. They don't have to phone us. They can if they want, but they can click a category. They sign in. We know their parcel details. They can click a category, say, your tracking information is wrong. You say you tried to deliver, but I was in all day and nobody came. I allowed that to be an option someone could choose before natural language, obviously. You'd click on that and that would create a case. Behind the scenes, the case was linked to the ERP system. We could see the GPS, did the driver actually go to that address? And we discovered 25 to 30,000 times a day. It was a thing called false carding, where drivers say they tried to deliver, they went nowhere near the address. And it still happens now, not so much. And so I went out with the drivers. Why did this happen? And it can't just be that they're lazy. And 50%, they didn't have enough information to even make the delivery. It would say, Shepherd Bush Flats. You didn't even give me an apartment number. Or the customer gives the delivery details to the retailers, to John Lewis, Amazon, M&S. They don't give it to the logistics company. And that wasn't being passed through to the driver. So that was one reason. And the second one, along came time deliveries. And he knew if he went and did that drop over there, he'd be too late for the 5 drops he had to do before 1 p.m., 2 p.m., etc. And he wouldn't get it, would get fined. So I realized all these things were things, you can't just tell them, hey, deliver properly each time. We need to fix them. So although my official remit was the customer service contact center teams, 1,800 people, I had to affect the behavior of 3,000 drivers. And so why were they doing it? Well, there's two classic. There were some who were just corrupt. Some just didn't do it because they couldn't be bothered. But I had to realize, okay, the only way we can get ahead of this is changing the complete culture and the way they're measured and managed. And every depot had a big LCD screen, LED screen with service level. And it was always 99 to 99.5%. What the hell? And they said, yeah, that's delivering or trying to deliver. I said, okay, just show me the delivered stats. It was 80 to 84%. It's trying to deliver. Let's take that away from success, because the new model I'm proposing is, instead of telling our drivers to do about 90 drops or delivery attempts per day, let's take it down to 85 successful deliveries or proven delivery attempts, so they can take a photograph of the customer's front door. And when they're taking the photo, we GPS where they are, so that's the bit they don't know. But also we can then SMS, sorry we missed you. It doesn't even happen now, but it was an idea I had. Sorry we missed you, so you didn't get home to that miserable card and the letterbox, you missed your delivery. Straight away you can change, can I collect it later, or can we rearrange tomorrow? So all of these things make perfect sense to me, but I had to go out on a roadshow across 74 depots, get the depot general managers to explain it, to acknowledge it happened. Doesn't happen, Alex, nonsense. Go back to your office. And I proved it happened along with the IT guys. And we changed an entire global CX transformation program for the logistics and the entire group. And we became known as the only parcel company you can trust. And we cleaned up. So it's the why is absolutely the biggest thing. You can't fix things with why are customers having to contact you and why employees behaving that way. That's really the biggest thing in any role.
I think what was curious there was that count of attempted delivery success. But if you're the customer, attempted delivery isn't success. It's I still haven't got my package. So
Correct.
It's realigning that metric to then hopefully drop down that volume of people going, well, I wasn't in. Your tracking's incorrect. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, correct. And actually, I mean, the principle for contact centers are customer contact. It's not centers, physical buildings. old school. So customer contact, it's the law of averages, isn't it? Hey, we answered 80% of calls in 20 seconds, whatever. What about those 100 calls that didn't get an answer and abandoned after 10 minutes? Those could be 100 human beings in really volatile or tough situations. And what about your NPS or your CSAT is, your NPS is plus 46 and your CSAT is 4 out of 5. What about all the detractors? And then what about all the people that didn't even bother to leave feedback? And why? But also there's another crazily ironic thing about the feedback is people are only typically surveyed when they've had a conversation with someone. So the people that go to your website or your chatbot and it's just hopeless, I give up. They'll take their business elsewhere, but they'll never even get a survey. It's just utterly insane. It is.
And it's interesting because we are at a point where you get surveyed for literally everything now.
Oh, totally, yeah.
But the amount of analytics you have in platforms, I now look at it and go, do you need that? Because you're generally going to get feedback from the people that are happiest, but more or not than the big detractors. Whereas if you've got speech analytics and other things going on within your platform, you know pretty quickly what's gone on conversationally.
And I've got a post draft. I try not to post too often. I hate those people who post every day. God, you're only doing it to market. Anyway, that's another story. So sometimes people have to, I guess. But the post I'm going to put out next is 2 things. A, when someone has had a conversation with an agent or a self-service engine and they've not been able to be helped. Sorry, we can't help you, sir or madam. Sorry, that's just the way it is. Okay. That should be captured in whatever CRM platform or using conversation intelligence, sentiment analysis, whatever. But then don't then send me a survey. How happy were you with the experience? You just know damn well I just had a really terrible conversation with someone who said they can't help me. How happy? It's just utterly insane. And you're right. The technology, and I've put it in place in the last couple of companies. The real-time conversation intelligence. There's this myth that I've not seen it actually add much value. As the customer is talking, it can pop up suggested things to the agent. It still is very immature. But the thing you can absolutely do is forget how many calls or contacts you had. Let's have a report. What were people contacting us about today? What was the root cause? What did we give them as a solution? And how did they feel at the start and the end? And those are the 2. You shouldn't ever have to send a 1 0 to 10 NPS survey ever again. I agree completely.
Yeah, I think certainly see it in this house, survey fatigue.
Oh, for sure.
And it's I wanted to touch upon the McKellen gig because very often brands are luxury experiences and then the customer experience is very much not that. I remember working with a brand a few years back in the kind of leisure wear kind of sector, and they're like, oh, we've just turned off all the phones. Let's see what happens. And it's like, okay, that's an interesting approach when people are spending £100 a garment. You know, the more you spend either financially or emotionally, you know, you expect a superior service. And that must have been a really interesting gig to be told, you know, money is no issue, but we just want to provide that Rolls Royce service.
Absolutely. Actually, there's that, but there's also the role I'm in right now with Explorer Journeys, which is top luxury cruising. It's competing against Ritz-Carlton cruises, Four Seasons, the top notch. And all of the brand I'm with now and all the competitors have a website with a phone number and an email address. I'm like, oh, Lord, what century are we in? That's not easy. And there's a myth that luxury customers like to talk to someone over the phone. Some do, but that's old school. Literally, most luxury customers want to speak in a natural conversational voice, speak or type into a personalized interface and say, hey, that cruise I've got coming up in 2 weeks, what's the dress code? What's the weather going to be like? What sort of food you serve in your restaurants? Just let me ask that as a conversational intelligence. And then clearly, if you've got the right Gen AI, the right CRM, the right knowledge management, you can give them an answer straight away. And if the answer is no good, okay, sorry, behind the scenes, you're obviously going to close the loop why the answer was no good. So next time it doesn't happen. Okay, so you as a customer or potential customer, all you've done is speak in the language you want and effortlessly into type or speak if you want to type on a train. Here's my question. Here's an answer. That answer didn't help you. So now would you like to speak to one of our ambassadors or agents? We call them ambassadors. If you do, how would you like to speak to them? you want to speak to them now? First question. Oh, no, I've got half an hour is good. Which channel do you want to use? Do you want to have a call back? You want to phone them, or you want to send a synchronous message? This captive chat should not exist anymore. Or do you want to maybe WhatsApp us or messenger us? Oof, God, we're really pushing the boundary here. And that is the thing that customers need these days. And you think about it, there's so few brands operate that way, because what happens mostly is you're often forced to a rigid self-service solution. It could be a chatbot, could be an IVR. It's getting better at natural language. But then you choose your channel. And then after you answered, you explain what your issue or need is. Now, let me explain what my issue or need is, and then let me choose the channel. Because then what you can do is, customers aren't stupid. They know if it's urgent or not. So why make them all sit in the same queue for 10 minutes when my question can be answered in 2 hours? I don't need an answer right now. And the last thing that I really want to try and push the envelope with is the world of WhatsApp and Messenger and all these customers should be able to dictate a voice message. And that's turned into text, and it sits, and if it's immediate, you get a response. If it's not immediate, get back to me tomorrow. I want to change my cabin or my flight or whatever, So companies just aren't thinking this simply. And then the other aspect of that is obviously the agents, the ambassadors, call them what you want, who receive this information. There's so many nuances to a cruise, to bottles of whiskey. Some of these bottles of whiskey cost £50,000 at Macallan, it's seen. And the delivery needs to be impeccable. So I use my previous experience for that. But the packaging itself is so important. But then we realized that, okay, luxury or not luxury, what's the reason for this whiskey? And it could be, I'm ordering a 50,000 pound of Macallan whiskey because I want to give it to my father, who's chairman, is retiring. It's a big get together, but it's got to be a surprise. And I also want it delivered by one of your concierges in a Range Rover or white gloves. And if we didn't ask that, we wouldn't know. And a UPS or DHL would deliver it. And because it's so high value, we do that sort of stuff for free anyway. So you have to understand, what is the reason? What's the emotional reason? Are you going on a cruise just because you like cruising, or is it a family event? Is there something happening? So luxury is all the things I said, but it's also, what is the emotional driver and connection? And the one thing you can't ever do is not personalize it. You've got to know everything. If you've had one luxury passenger, or in any industry, not even luxury, but of course luxury, if you prefer a window seat or an aisle seat, if you prefer the red wine, all these things need to be iterated. And never, the more you can demonstrate, hey, I know you, I respect your loyalty, and last time you complained about this, so we've made sure that's not happening again, and everything, that's the intuitive and contextual. So epic, easy, personalized, intuitive, contextual.
I think one of our early guests talked about that, of they were in the UK sporadically, and they went to their favorite restaurant a few years after their last visit.
Yeah.
And to the contextual side of things, the waiter came up to them and went, great to have you back. Just so you're aware, we no longer stock that wine that you had last time.
Oh,
but
wow.
These two would be excellent choices if you're going to go for a similar meal.
That's really
and
good.
That, I mean, yeah, in the luxury area, you definitely want that, but there's no reason why we can't be doing that.
Yeah.
I look at every kind of vertical. There is an opportunity to make something mean more.
Yeah,
and it might just be, someone spends a couple of £100 on a insurance policy. Well, the agent heard that they're off to somewhere. Why not send them a little guidebook? Or if you haven't got a budget for that, then maybe send a link. Here's our little travel guide.
Agreed.
It's all about those kind of little things of, right, know that customer and know the why behind it, what makes them tick, what makes them want to spend that money.
And absolutely, I mean, the reason I call it customer service experience, not custom experience, is because I've spoken about 15 years or 20 years ago, when the custom experience craze became global. It's ironic. Custom experience has ruined customer service experience, because what I call customer, in the old days, there was customer service, there was sales, marketing, operations. There was no CX in effect. But what happened is we had all these CMOs, these marketing experts, suddenly taking ownership of CX, and they did not have the first idea about a contact center or CRM, digital, social media interaction, etc. And they don't have the first idea what it's like to be a customer service agent or delivery driver. They don't think like that. So to me, what customer service experience means to me is every interaction, self-service, human, any channel at every life cycle stage. So I'm thinking of buying that Philips TV. Does the Ambilight work with my Philips lights? You know, I want the whole room to go color. If I can't easily ask that question, and you can't, by the way, it's a real example. I won't buy it. So that's before buying. And you think cars, you think holidays, flights, hotels, gadgets. We always are comparing, and it's the one that gives you the answer easiest to your question in a smart, simple way will get your business, even if it's a bit more expensive. So customer service, and then you've made the order. Oh God! And even Amazon, they're not good at this. Okay, I just made it 10 minutes ago. I want to add something to it. You can't. And these food delivery apps drive you insane as well. Of course, I know. I want to add. You can't add something to it. Well, it's not even left your restaurant. So everything needs to be reimagined completely again from scratch, from what's right for customers. So. And then you receive it, and the food's cold, or the quality, or it looked that big, and it's that big when you open the box. And I'm sure it's the same in the UK. I've been back a few times, but here in the Middle East, you'll get a thank you for your feedback. I don't want to give you feedback. I want a refund or my new food. You have no way to talk to a human being. So that's all customer service experience, and that to me is the most broken part of customer experience, and it is also the most important part. If I can't get a question answered, support, help, the thing I need quickly, easily, and feel valued, you're not going to get my business. And that's why I call it CSX.
It makes a lot of sense. And I think what we'll do is we'll take a pause there, and we'll come back and we'll ask you about an experience that you've had yourself.
Yep, great stuff.
So we'll place our listeners on hold there. So you get to listen to some delightful hold music, and then when we come back, we'll speak to Alex a bit more.
Your call is important to us. Please hold, and you will be connected to your next favorite customer experience shortly.
Welcome back to my favorite customer experience. My guest for this week is Alex Mead. And before the break, we were talking about making sure every step of the way is covered for the customer and everything is easy and everything works. And we also talked about some high-end experiences. And I know from my own experience now, from being in the industry a while, my bar is really high for a customer experience. Alex, why don't you share one of your recent experiences, a favorite customer experience, and also talk about whether your bar is also quite high.
My bar is obscenely high, actually. It's purely because not because I think I'm special. I think I always think on behalf of the brand. So okay, you're giving me an experience that if I'm sure other guests, customers experience that they won't do business with you. So you're letting yourselves down. But okay, here's a good one. So I wouldn't name the brand, but it was a hotel chain, and I'm actually top tier with 2 global hotel chains. One of them has this offer where you can get a free suite upgrade. So we'll do the bad and then the good. So it's contrast. So the free suite upgrade, you go in the app. Okay, looks easy. Redeem here. Redeem here. I'm based in Bahrain. I've got a UK phone number and a Bahrain phone number. Gives me a US toll-free number to phone. A toll-free doesn't even work, so I have to work out. ChatGPT told me how to dial it. And after 5 minutes at £2.50 per minute, I gave up. So they didn't get my business, but the other one has a messaging facility in the app. And I said, hey, I'm top tier. Interestingly, your competitors offered me a free suite upgrade this weekend. Any chance you can do the same? Sure. Let me check for you, sir. Synchronous messaging. I made a cup of tea, came back. Pleased to confirm your upgrade to the Emirates suite. The biggest suite in this hotel is astonishing. Far too big for me, actually, and the missus. But okay, sure, great. But cleverly, they knew I was staying there for my birthday. Clearly, they have my birthday, but I couldn't think how. But then I realized, okay, every time I check in there, they scan my passport. So I'm sure I signed a GDPR. They don't have GDPR here anyway, but I don't care. It was a good experience. And I got there, and we got to the room, and there was a happy birthday cake. There's a bottle of champagne, rose petals on the bed. Well, that's a bit. It's a birthday, not a honeymoon. Anyway, and then we went down to the restaurant, and They knew I last time I was there. I stayed in this other hotel much more often. That I am phobic about fat on my meat. So, Mr. Alex, last time we know you didn't order the steak. I said, no, it's not, sir. I've not been knighted. Just Alex is fine. But we've got a steak for you that's been marinating for the last 12 hours since you confirmed you were staying here. Would you like to see it before we cook it? No, it's okay. I trust you. Trust us. There's not an ounce of fat on it. And they brought me back this medium well done. It was just delicious. And I probably spent £120 in that restaurant. And the whole experience was, and never once was I asked, thank you for your loyalty, sir. No, they treated me, they respected my loyalty, but the personalization was off the chart. So now I will stay loyal to that brand more than the other one when I get the chance. It was incredible.
And I guess one of the things I often ask is, how did it make you feel? It sounds like, and from your body language, it made you feel really valued.
It did. And what is interesting, again, it's such a lesson. I was fiercely loyal to the other brand. And I would always stay with them because they would always upgrade me when I got there. But the fact I couldn't talk to them easily. And also when I started to realize when I check in with this other brand, hey, sir, thank you for your loyalty. Thanks for being one of our valued customers. It's like you're just saying it like a parrot. This other brand, they made me realize what I thought was great was actually not that great with the lower brand. So these guys treated me really well. So yeah, I'll stick with them until they drop the ball, and then I'm gonna go back again. But it was incredible.
It's interesting because I'm in a similar spot with one brand, and it is an interesting experience when you check in of like, is it genuine? Or is it we've just put the right colored sticker on your thing and we're going to credit you some points? And I had one recently where it was a new hotel to the chain. So they were in the process of renovation and things. And I don't normally talk about my own experiences on this podcast. I just ask other people's. But I don't know what her role was, but like she was head of service during every meal. She was always there.
Wow. Yeah.
And I've never had someone so more attentive in a hotel experience of like, oh, Mr. Holt, we didn't see you at breakfast today.
Wow.
Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Was everything all right? And it's like, yeah, we just went for a run. We weren't, we missed it. It's fine. I was just like, constantly like, thank you for your loyalty, but in a way of like, we're not used to this yet here.
Yeah.
We're not jaded by all the levels. And it's like, it's great that you spent time here. And then just, it made me think this could be the way. Anyway, I mean, I had a same company, different hotel at the weekend where we checked in, and it wasn't acknowledged. And actually, that was the first time in a while I was like, And actually, the ironic thing is, this was the highest grade of hotel I'd stayed in for that group.
Wow.
So my first experience of that top end was, I didn't feel at all as valued as if I go in with one of the cheap options.
Yeah,
So I guess going back to your experience we talked about in the first half of the customer experience has to meet the brand.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you know what the thing that I have this empathy is to my core. One of my pet hates is the waiter serves a drink or a meal to someone. They don't even acknowledge them or say thank you. I will always say thank you on their behalf. So that lady, that attentive manager, when you're at your hotel for every meal, I'm thinking, how hard do you work? Every day you probably get up at 5 a.m. You work, stand on your feet, and everything I think about the flights. I noticed I was in the Philippines last 3 weeks, and I got back on Saturday, and I noticed in Manila there's a camera by the luggage belt, and it shows you the bags being unloaded. There was this one poor guy, 35 degrees, loading all the bags. I'm thinking, God, mate, you should be getting help. So too many customers are like, this service, it sucks. You always have to think, is it that human being's fault? And it rarely is the individual's fault. It's the culture, the environment, the time, information, motivation, empowerment that they don't have.
I think it's really interesting as well is that you have customers that just expect now as well.
Yeah, totally.
And like for us, like you want to drink it in, you want to experience it, you want to appreciate it. We've been in restaurants where we've seen waiters being given hard times by other families,
Yeah.
and then we've upped our game almost to be nicer and to be,
Yeah, absolutely. I do the same.
and kind of like, we'll tip you more, and it's like, sorry about them,
Yeah,
that's a them
I know what you
problem.
mean. Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, you shouldn't have to. I had it years ago on holiday where like waiters would come to your table because they found other people to be grumpy, and it's like, it shouldn't be a race to the bottom. It should
No, I
be
agree.
a joyful experience, and they're
Yeah,
part of your experience.
yeah.
Really good chat. Really
Enjoyed
interesting
it.
hearing
Enjoyed
about
it.
the various different levels. And I think for me, it's hearing that start of that logistics journey, whereas now we take it for granted that we
Oh,
can track
yeah.
everything to minutiae. Cracking that first time round would have been fun.
I can never forget in a room strategizing, me coming up with this idea. Don't be stupid, Alex. It's not possible. We did it. But honestly, the hearts and minds were won very early. Yeah, it can't be done. And then we had to knock down every obstacle. But the last part on that was officially I only had the contact center, so there were then teams reporting into me. But in the depots were about 1,200 customer service staff supporting the depot. And I had to change the entire reporting structure that everyone who serves a customer now reports into my reporting line in a depot or a contact center. And that was a tough ask. Depot managers, because the depot managers knew their customer service people were covering for them. So it's like you're going to put spies in. It's not spies. We want to be the best logistics company. We want to win awards. So it was that was one of my proudest achievements, but it was a heck of a ride, and it was fun as well, for sure. Yeah.
And it sounds like as well, it was empowered, and the leadership were behind it, and they got it.
Oh, actually, the group CEO personally hired me. It was incredible. I'd literally had a septorhinoplasty. I had a splint on my nose, black eyes. He'd had a skiing accident. He had a broken leg. We met in a hotel, first stage with the group CEO, no HR and a headhunter, and we hit it off like house on fire. And he stood up to the city and the shareholders and said, I personally guarantee by next Christmas, this was in February, we will have the best customer service in the industry. And because he said it, he had to back me. But yeah, it was,
no pressure there. That you're.
It was okay. It was okay. I like pressure.
Alex, where can people find out more about you if they want to learn more about what you do?
LinkedIn. It's just LinkedIn Alex. I think HTTP.
We'll pop a QR.
LinkedIn.
We'll put a QR code up.
Yeah. I'm Alex Mead is my name on LinkedIn. So if you do linkedin.alexmead.com, you'll find me. But yeah, that's awesome. The best place. It's got my number, my email, everything on there.
Well, Alex, thank you very much for joining us on a hot day, and thank you for sharing with us your favorite customer experience.
Been a pleasure. Lovely talking to you.
And we'll see you again soon, folks. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you for listening to My Favorite CX. Your listenership is important to us. On your keypad, please press a number between 1 and 5 to rank how much you've enjoyed your experience.